Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hands-on Ethical Hacking course. So in this section, we'll be downloading and setting up our Kali machine. So to download your Kali machine, first we have to download our virtualization software. So in this section, we are going to be using VirtualBox. To download VirtualBox, go to your favorite search engine. Let me just close the previous tab. Yeah. So you can go to your favorite search engine. I'll use Google here and I'll search for VirtualBox. And you can go to the home page, Oracle VM VirtualBox, and then you can download it according to your host system. Since I'm using Windows here, I'll be downloading it for Windows. So you can click on this big blue download button. And after you have done that, you can go to the Windows host section here. You can click on that. And now you can see, if you open your downloads, you should see VirtualBox has started downloading, but I've already downloaded it, so I'll cancel it. The next thing that we need to download is we need to download our OVA file to open our virtual machine in VirtualBox. For that, we'll be visiting Kali's official website. In case you're using any other operating system, instead of Windows, you can download it from here. So we have OS X host. So basically, if you're using Mac or Mac OS or Apple computers, you can click here. If you're using Linux, well, I suppose you know what to do. If you don't, you can click on the Linux distribution section here. And if you're using Windows, as I told you before, you can click on the Windows host section. So now to download a Kali virtual machine, we can go to kali.org. If you have trouble finding the URL, you can just go to your search engine and search for Kali download. You should get the link at kali.org. Yeah, after you are at kali.org's website, you can click on the big orange download button. And after you're here, you can select the virtual machine section. If you want anything else, you can select here. As you can see, Kali is available on a host of operating systems. But since we are using virtual machines, we click on that. And after you select virtual machines, you have your options here. So if you're using VMware, you can select VMware here. And if you're using VirtualBox, you can select VirtualBox here. I recommend downloading with the torrent version because it provides higher speed and pausing functionality. But if you are, okay with waiting, then you can also click on the direct download button. If you're using a 32-bit system, you can download the 32-bit virtual machine. But since I'm using a 64-bit virtual machine, I'll use the 64-bit version. And as you can see, they have the default credential Kali. So when we are downloaded and installed a virtual machine, we'll be, using that to log in. So to download it, you can click on the torrent or download button, but I already have it downloaded. So let's assume that you have downloaded then. So let's move to the next step. So the next step would be, let me open my file manager. Yeah. So here, as you can see, I have both the files downloaded. So the first thing is to install VirtualBox. So let's go through that. So VirtualBox setup installation is like any other operating system, software installation in Windows. So all you have to do is you just have to click on next. If you want to change any functionality here, you can change it, but we already want but make sure to have USB support and networking support because we need that for our course prep purposes. You can disable the Python support if you want, but I'll leave it enabled for default purposes. Then you can click on next. And you can change this if you want to. So I'll just disable some of them. I'll allow file associations, but I'll not allow it to, have its icon in the quick launch bar and also create a desktop shortcut, but I'll allow the start menu entries. And then you can click on next. And now it will say that it will also install some drivers, etc. So it may, temporarily disable your internet connection. So what you have to do is you just have to click on yes. And then we can click on install. And as you can see, now it's installing. So now you don't need to do much. You just have to wait here and press yes on every pop-up that comes up. VirtualBox will install some drivers as well as, copy its setup files. And I'll resume the video once we have installed VirtualBox. So as you can see, my installation is complete now. And the option is tick to start VirtualBox after installation. I'll click on finish and start VirtualBox. So now VirtualBox may take some time, when it's on its first boot because it's setting up all the drivers. And as you can see, we have the VirtualBox interface here. So now you can explore here and, change some settings if you want to, or, create your own virtual machines. But since we downloaded an OVA file from Kali's website, we won't, go through that hassle. We can save some time by, just importing that machine. So to do that, what you can do is you can click on file and then you can click on import appliance. And after that, you can select the OVF file which you want. So it's in my local file system. And then you can click on this button and you can basically find that OVF file. So I have it in my stuff VM. File Linux folder, and as you can see, this is the OVA file, so I can double click on it and it's selected now, and I can click on next. And then it's and now you can see all the settings are basically set here. So you can see, that it's giving a 2 CPU cores. You can change that if you want to. So I'll just leave it at 2. for now, and it's giving it 2 gigabytes of RAM. You can also change it if you want to. I suggest giving it 4 or more if your system has more than 4 gigabytes, but 2 gigabytes is a minimum. Then there is this DVD controller. You can enable or disable that. Then there's this sound card. I recommend disabling that because it can cause some issues. Make sure to have the network adapter enabled, and you can enable or disable the DVD adapter if you want. I'll just keep it enabled, keep as many things as default to, avoid any problems. You can also select the folder where the virtual machine will be imported. You can also select this option to import hard drives as VDI. I leave it as default now, but you can also, uncheck this to, save space, because then it won't, copy the hard disk again. But if you want to, have a no hassle setup, then you can just follow through the default setup as shown here, and then you can click on import. Now, and you have to agree to the privacy policy here. If you want to, you can open and read about it. So after you have agreed, this pop-up should open. Now what it's going to do is going to, create a virtual machine disk file. So what is a virtual machine disk file? Well, it's basically a hard drive for your virtual machines, all right? So for example, if your hardware, the real host system which you have a CPU, a motherboard, and a hard disk installed in it to have your operating system installed and, store your other files. So for a virtual machine, what it's going to do is it's creating a virtual hard drive right now. So as you can see, the extension is VMDK, which stands for virtual machine disk. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically create a virtual machine hard disk. So this step may take some time depending on your hard drive and your hard disk performance and the size that you're importing. In my case, it's saying around 18 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll just pause the recording and resume when it's done. So now, as you can see, my virtual disk has been imported, and you can see the virtual machine comes up in your virtual machine menu on the left. And to start it, you can click on the start button. So yeah, that was all how to import and install your virtual machine in VirtualBox. In the next section, we'll be talking about how to update our Kali machine and how to log in it. If you want to log in, you can click on start, and when the login pop-up comes, you can type in Kali, and you can log in with the username Kali and the password Kali. And after that, we'll be updating our Kali machine so that we can have the up-to-date packages from the repositories. And so yeah, see you in the next part.